Too bad.
Welcome back to the Convo Couch, everyone. I am Pasta Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella.
And Johnny Sue is still spinning on those ones and twos, fam. We got him locked up, chained up down here, and he's just
Fam,
working
why
for us.
are you saying that?
He's not allowed to leave. He's got to stay down here. We don't let him eat.
No,
we don't let him drink.
That's not true, you guys.
Well, he does so much work, fam. It's like he never leaves. Haven't checked out True Rebel Network. Please do. It's got some great stuff down there for Johnny. He's got a new channel. It's pretty awesome. We have a lot of things to talk about, fam. It is our Monday show.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody looks forward to our Monday show. Let me lower the volume. And let's get started. Just want to say thank you to all the new Patreons out there. We have a bunch of them who just signed up. 3 more. We're getting close to 100. Thank you so much. You keep the show going. And on ROKFIN, ROKFIN, if you can go over there, sign up. It's free. You can endorse us for $9.99 a month. That means you get premium content across the board for everybody.
But it's if you just want to sign up and help build the platform, it's free, and you should go do that.
You should do that no matter what. And guess who just joined the platform?
Who?
Take a guess.
Is it okay to announce?
Yes.
Okay.
Because he's on there. I mean.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jimmy Dore is now on there.
Jimmy Dore is on ROKFIN, you guys.
He's got some clips up there. So check him out. And once again, if you can afford the $9.95 or $9.99 a month, please do so, and we'll get that going. Fam, let's start off. A lot of things going on. You got some things that I think are not going to happen, but I would love to see this take place. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I think people need to push for it to happen. I think people are angry enough to continue to protest until it does. So the ACLU of Minnesota announced that the Minneapolis City Council members announced that their intent is to disband the Minneapolis Police Department and invest in community-led public safety. Obviously, we're going to have to follow along and make sure that this goes through, make sure what are the parameters, what's going to be discussed. I mean, this isn't going to happen overnight. But the fact that this is even happening is a big deal because, we're in California and that hasn't happened yet. And we're going to talk about what's been happening, why the police have backed up, because this is a big deal. People are marching in the streets by the thousands, right? And so obviously something is working, and something is happening here. I have never seen that many people in the streets in my time in LA. And LA is a city where you protest. There's a lot of protests going on. There's a lot of activism. So this has been the first time that I've seen something like this. And I think people are angry enough and people are still suffering economically. So there's a lot of that anger and that angst in there. So just a little bit to kind of talk about it a little bit more, the Minneapolis City Council members want to focus on this community-led type of public safety, which is something I agree with. I think we need disarmed police. We need people that are going to really be about the community, kind of like when I got my bag stolen from my car. That kind of policing that isn't heavily armed and isn't ready to kill somebody. That's why the police are there, to serve the community. They're not necessarily there to throw rubber bullets on protesters. And just a summary, on Sunday afternoon, a veto-proof majority of the Minneapolis City Council members announced their commitment to disbanding the city's embattled police department, which has endured relentless criticism in the wake of the police killings of George Floyd, an unarmed black man, on May 25th. And they said, quote, "We're here because if we hear you, we are here today because of George Floyd was killed by the Minneapolis police. We are here in Minneapolis and in cities across the United States. It is clear that our existing system of policing and public safety is not keeping our community safe." That was Minneapolis City Council President Lisa Bender on Sunday. "Our efforts at incremental reform have failed," period. Okay, wow. So this is what they're saying. And it's a big, to get the city council to do anything in general is a big deal. We know the LA City Council here is we know the Pasadena City Council saw him the other day. Really, really, you see what money they get and, police unions, whatnot, and you wonder why there's a lot of situations happening when it comes to police brutality. However, once again, I'm really skeptical about this, fam. This is something big, and I know a lot of law enforcement junkies out there or politicians who stand behind law enforcement, especially in the state of Minnesota, will not let this go unchecked. They're going to push back. So they're going to try to buy off city council members, swing them a certain way. So it's interesting to see what happens. This is a step in a great direction if we get something like this, because I don't believe we should defund the police. I believe we should demilitarize the police. Yeah. I say keep them funded, but make them train twice as long, get more peace officers out there, teach them all the keto.
so they can get somebody down and not kill somebody, no more choking, all that stuff. Train these police officers heavily, because if a lawyer has to go to law school for 6 years or whatever it is, and a police officer has to go to school for 6 weeks, that's imbalance of our law and order, right? Okay, the policemen enforce the law, the lawyers go to court on it. So I am very optimistic if something like this can get put through. But I don't want to get bamboozled again, because I think I got bamboozled on the knee thing, right? A lot of people have been contacting me personally, say, Pasta, I can't believe that knee thing got you, man. So when they put a statement out there, so they say this stuff that's going on, where they're going to possibly defund the police and get rid of them and create their own type of, I guess, sheriff's kind of department, but call it a different way, a public safety way. I'm just not so sure it's going to happen, fam.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to see resistance by the police, obviously. But I mean, I think there's a lot of people out there. I mean, right now, the people in favor of reform outnumber the people who are in power. That's the thing you have to look at, is the number, the pressure. People are going to continue protesting, I 100% believe, until this happens. One, a lot of people are out of work. The economy is shit. So people are not just protesting because of police brutality. They're showing what happens when you're not taking care of your community in general. So the Black Lives Matter LA and the ACLU, going along with this, have filed a lawsuit over our curfew orders, because if you guys recall, we kept having curfew, and that was actually unlawful because people were peacefully protesting. We also had heavily militarized police, the National Guard. We had people with armed rifles at the top. Tina interviewed a gentleman that was shot, and it turned out it wasn't a rubber bullet. It was a more lethal version of a rubber bullet. And then there were people on the roofs with their guns pointed at peaceful protesters. All of this is coming back to hunt the LAPD. And the ACLU, of course, is behind that. So it's the Black Lives Matter LA. Yep. And I'm very happy a lot of the protesters who have been hurt by the police are suing the police department as well. Yep. They should answer to that, because going to the hospital and having all these bills and just even the process, it's traumatizing once you're out there. And anybody that hasn't experienced that, it really changes you in a way. And so I think this is all just, and this is all a pressure of the protests too, and the movement, and having independent media too, because I don't know about other independent journalists, but I know myself, Tina, and others have been asked about giving people videos, because we're on there. We're not just like using a helicopter. We actually go out there and we're filming things, and we're talking to people. So
let me ask you a question. It says LA County Sheriff will no longer enforce curfews. Officials say decision not linked to the ACLU lawsuit. Do you think it has anything to do with Villanueva kind of making a decision on this? Alex, I think, once again, he has his criticism. There are criticisms when it comes to Mr. Villanueva, but it seems to me like maybe he's listening. I don't want to get duped by another police officer, fam.
I think officials say that, but I think it's PR. I think it definitely has a lot to do. They're backing off in general. I mean, I just haven't seen that many in the protests, even during protest hours. They're just backing off in general because they know they got a lot of shit coming. People just have videos everywhere. We spoke about it last night in the Black Lives Matter protest. There was multiple people speaking. It was such a huge protest, so I'm sure there were different sections. But where we were, they talked about how now everybody has a phone. So the police can say whatever they want, but everybody has a phone, and people are catching what they're doing.
He actually said that in the press conference. It's a different type of accountability nowadays. He goes, can you imagine if this stuff took place 30 years ago,
even just
we wouldn't be able to
90s.
find the bad apples.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, I mean, who knows? It is a good move. I'm glad they are. These were draconian curfews. That was what was said in the other article, and I kind of agree with that. Whatnot, it's against our civil liberties, but once again, hiding under the influence or the COVID-19, they can do a lot of things. They can kind of really infringe on our civil liberties and enact these martial laws and get away with it. And they did. Can you imagine all these people who were jailed right now, how they got out? How, what I'm saying? And once again, I think the whole argument is like, hey, listen, you don't care about COVID since you're out there marching, you're out there protesting, so we don't care. We're going to throw you in a cell. But then again, there's going to be a lot of lawsuits coming. And I think the LA sheriff realized that. I think he might have even got a nudge from Mr. Gavin Newsom over there and said, hey, listen, we got to shut these curfews down because it'll really come back and haunt us. They're going to bankrupt the state. They're going to have a lot of lawsuits.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's not convenient for them.
Poopy Cake says, great work, fam.
Thanks, fam.
And guess who's in the house? Great White Shark. Thank you, Great White Shark. We love you. Fam.
So,
Oh,
remember
my
the
God.
video of the 75-year-old man? We showed it on a couple shows ago. He was pushed by police officers. His name was Martin Guagino. Is that Italian? The 75-year-old. The 75-year-old man who was shoved to the ground by the two Buffalo police officers was attacked by them as he was attempting to return or drop police helmets. So there's a picture of him trying to return this police helmet. And then there's also the picture of him being thereafter he was, on the ground that we showed before. So
he was trying to give guy the back his helmet?
Yeah.
So it was like an old man out there, like, and oh my God. And then when he pushed him on the ground, I saw he was bleeding and everything.
Yeah.
What happened to him right now?
Well, he's fine, but he's a well-known activist in his community. It'd be like they pushed like somebody like real, like, I don't know, in our community that's really, old, and we in your community, who the activists are, who are the people that are always out there doing the things. So it's really sad that they did this, and it's, again, here's accountability. They have cameras on the guy.
Yeah.
People were taking pictures. Same thing with George Floyd. People took pictures when they were saying, oh, he was resisting arrest. Turns out the guy wasn't resisting arrest at all. So
yep.
That's a huge part of the accountability that we're seeing.
I just threw up that Twitter for you right there. By the way, hi, Holly Horn over on the ROKFIN. If you haven't signed up for the ROKFIN, ROKFIN, go over there. It's free right now. Check us out on the ROKFIN. Great platform. Fam, what's going on in Philly? Motown?
So yeah, I just wanted to show helicopter footage of how big the protest was in Philly, and that was yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, it says June 6th. 2 days ago.
2 days ago, okay.
2 days ago, Saturday.
Hard to keep track of days.
32.3 million views is a lot of people there, fam. That is crazy.
It's a lot of people in Philadelphia. And, it's I just wanted to show also, yesterday, Johnny, myself, and Eva, we attended the protest in Hollywood, California. Now, I hadn't been to a protest in Hollywood. I'd been to West Hollywood, Beverly Hills area. And this one was one of the biggest ones, maybe comparatively to the LA one.
That was ridiculous, yeah.
This one had about 20,000 people, and there was just so much good energy, so many good vibes, zero violence. There's Johnny with a megaphone. And Johnny Megaphone.
I missed it. Johnny Megaphone? Damn. John, what were you saying?
Look at this sign. The real thugs
are on Wall Street.
Fam. The real thugs are on Wall Street.
That's the truth, man.
Yeah, fam.
Fam, what did you say? Johnny, what did you say on the megaphone yesterday? Nothing?
Well, he was just chanting. And so there's a picture of the 20,000 people in LA from a helicopter. And then we have a couple things of footage, one from CBS, where you guys can see, similar to the Philadelphia, you guys can see the just how big it was.
Desmond Shaw live overhead in Sky 2 with more. Desmond, this has to be one of the biggest protests we've seen in the last couple of days.
Yes, definitely here in the Los Angeles area, Sarah. Now, LAPD actually just did a crowd estimate for us from their helicopter overhead. They say they think there's 20,000 people here on Hollywood Boulevard. This is going to span from La Brea all the way up to just about Las Palmas. As I tilt up, I'll show you just how many people are. Really incredible. They're kind of pouring down onto Highland as well. And the good news here from our understanding is that this has been completely peaceful as well. We haven't heard about any problems with this. The problem perhaps is just hopefully all of these people all packed together, of course, in the middle of the coronavirus pandemic. Certainly a concern, but a peaceful protest out here. People really making their presence felt on Hollywood Boulevard this evening. Chris and Sarah.
Okay.
Toby Funk. Give me a break. Come on, Toby Funk. Did you see that comment?
No, I didn't.
He says that George Floyd was in cahoots with the cops making counterfeit money. Not saying he deserved to die, blah, 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 but come on. I mean, come on. Well, no, look, we don't talk about it. George Floyd was poor. Was trying to get money or fake money, whatever he was alleged of, to get food. He died because he was poor and because he was black.
That's the thing. The system of oppression, the police always tackles poor people in general the most. And then, of course, a lot of people of color and black people are poor. So it's all part of it. They're both arms of the oligarchy.
Yeah,
this is all goes back to the arms of the oligarchy, and capitalism, in my opinion, is what allowed that to happen. Unfettered, with completely no, just not enough regulations of these corporations and these oligarchs. They can do what they want.
And that's true fascism. When the corporations run the state, that's true fascism. The way they suppress our voices, that's true fascism. And the whole thing is that we can't. It is highly rooted in racism, but we can't stop there because it's more than racism. It's about authoritarianism. It's about imperialism. It's so much more going into this whole thing. Funds these people? Who makes these rules? We got to bring them all down. We got to bring down.
We got to bring down the oligarchy.
The whole system, the oligarchy. You know what I'm saying?
So, we have a bit of a video that Miss Eva made that was really good. It just shows like a summary of what we saw yesterday. Some powerful speeches. It was just a beautiful protest.
But now I know, shit. I know I'm able to carry on. You got it, brother. You got it. It's been a long. It's been a long. I want y'all to say. Long time coming. Oh, today, man in the mirror. You know. Change. So when you see me and my black skin, and my wide nose, and my thick lips, and my locked hair, you gotta see it. You gotta see yourself. Everything's gonna be alright now. Everything's gonna be alright. I said no woman. No woman, no cry. Let me hear. Oh no. I said no woman.
Breathe in. Woo. Let it fall out. Yeah. And one more, just breathe in. And let it fall out.
You can have peaceful, organized confrontation for productive results, eternal change. You can't tell me to fucking go home when my people in Ferguson, Missouri walked 5 weeks, day and night, day and night, day and night, day and night, day and night. We don't fucking go home when they tell us to. No justice, no peace. I was doing my shit a lot in Beverly Hills. Why? Capitalism, right there. They had 12 p.m. curfews, all the way up until curfew was broken. That's why I said the first day after curfew was broken, let's fucking go to Beverly Hills, wake their rich asses up. They're protecting the rich people. They don't want us to hear this. So running around Hollywood and downtown, that's great. But Beverly Hills needs to hear us. We need to be doing this in Beverly Hills all night. I was in Beverly Hills till 3 a.m. with 150 protesters screaming and screaming and screaming.
And that was my favorite part too, because he understands that the rich people are the power. I mean, we noticed that how cops were protecting the areas like Beverly Hills, Garcetti's house. We notice who they protect. They don't really care as much about the poor people or you protesting in a poor area of downtown LA, but wait till you protest in Beverly Hills. Those people complain about a train being built under them, let alone having a bunch of low-class plebs of protesters out there. So I think we need to make these people uncomfortable. I am all for protesting at these rich people's houses. I'm up for protesting at the people who hold power, like the politicians. That's the next step. That's what needs to happen. And I love that he mentioned capitalism, because that is the problem right now that we have.
Fam, it's about crony capitalism.
It's capitalism, fam. I'm sorry.
I know. Lost in the fog of war. $10 says, hugs, fams. Thank you for the super chat contribution. It's always appreciated on the couch. We got over 200 people there. Guys, like, share, subscribe. We got a lot of Trump trollers on today. We welcome you too, but for those progressives, hit that thumbs up and help us out. Let's drown out the words. But anyways, fam, one other thing about this right here. Don't you want to talk about the mayor, I think? Or is that next? Or am I skipping ahead?
Yeah, so the mayor of Minneapolis basically was booed out of protests, kind of like a big protest like this one. And he basically is rejecting defunding the police, which is a mistake on his part. I mean, if he were smart, he'd be like, yes, I'm on board with this. Why? Because as a politician, you're supposed to do what the people want. If the majority of the people want to defund the police, you're there to serve the people. You are at their service. And that's what these politicians have to be reminded of. These politicians serve us.
Yeah.
They serve us, and
Yes.
they need to do our bidding as a people. Like, if you're going to start going against what your people want, that's what should happen. It hasn't been happening enough, right? But now this is happening.
So maybe the public outcry will move them in a certain direction. But this is where we also need to learn how to govern. There should be a referendum or a, what do you call it? Is it an opposition? What do they call those things? A proposition. Not an opposition. The proposition, a referendum. They collect signatures to get it on the ballot next election to say, should we defund the police and start our own police force, whatever the case may be. That's why we need leaders in this situation, getting signatures, getting this stuff up, take it right to the people. You know what I'm saying? This is where we need to learn in our next step in our movement. Because, fam, I'm interested in talking about this. I said, what are the demands for all these people out there protesting right now, right? They have now charged all 4 officers with murder, right? Or accessory to murder. But we know that there's been a few arrests here and there. There's never been a conviction, so we have to hold still. But this trial won't go on for like 8 months. Yeah. So we can't protest for 8 months until then. Or can we? Or is there something this is where we need to take this movement and get it into actual
But here's the thing. Right now, the movement belongs to the people who started it. So now it has to be approached a certain way. Even within the Black Lives Matter community, or even within the Black community, there's various differences of opinion as to how to go about this. And I think people need to listen to that as well. There are a lot of people making connections to, like this guy that we just talked about, to the oligarchy, to capitalism, but not everybody's going to see it that way. Some people want to focus on police brutality and reparations and all that stuff, and they have every right to focus on that. Yeah. Now, can we make ties and build other movements from it? Absolutely, we can. But I think it has to be done in a way that is cognitive of how these people are listening to their plight too, and then inviting them over.
I mean, there, like I said, I'm hoping for a leader to actually kind of pull us forth. Toby Funk said this is a class problem. Race, unfortunately, tied into that, but everyone needs to band together against our enemy above us, not beside us. Hilarious that I'm guessing Pasta thinks I'm a conservative. No, I don't, Toby. I just thought the whole with the accusation that George Floyd was working with the police. There might be some talks of that and speculation, but before you drop that dime, you need a lot of proof of that bullshit. I don't believe that. And whether it was that or not, he didn't deserve to die the way he did. There is some, actually, fam, would you like to respond to that he says this is a class problem? Because we also know that race is very heavily involved. But there is a class issue between us. They're going out and they're protecting Beverly Hills.
Obviously. And he mentioned it, but you can't skip that part about race and just put it on the back burner. Especially, I just, in general, I see white people trying to do that, and it comes across as like dismissive of what they're doing. I understand it is a class problem. I agree with you. I agree that the oligarchs are the biggest threat to everybody, but you can't escape that problem. You can't just skip it and say we'll deal with it later, because those people aren't going to be on your side then. Yeah. If you want to connect it,
you think there's some responsibilities. We talk about Black Lives Matter. A lot of people don't realize that Black Lives Matter is an organization, but have they done fair diligence by also pointing out the imperialism and the oligarchs themselves?
No, because that's not their plight.
But it's tied into each other. That's the thing, is that I think they have
But you can't expect people to focus on everything, every organization to focus on everything. Just like the immigrant community, not every single person has focused on the imperialism, which is a huge direct tie to it. I think there can be conversations to help people understand to get that way, but it can't come off as like, oh no, we need to look at this only. Like it has to come from a place of empathy and understanding. Otherwise, you're gonna push people away. And I definitely want to have more conversations of this with people who are progressive and who are black because they have a certain opinion. I'm sure Nico has a certain opinion on how this would be as a progressive person that also understands imperialism and also understands the plight of being a black man. I think there are conversations to be had, and those conversations should come from those people above all else, because somebody like Nico understands both.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think those people should be leading the conversations, to be honest.
I just think that we don't recognize a lot of times that racism exists, but racism is also the tool of the oligarchs to keep us fighting, divided with each other. And sometimes we have to find a way and break through this. And that's why, I'm all for having these conversations. I'm all for learning. I'm not set in my ways. I've been all over the place saying I'm willing to grow and I'm willing to listen and learn and stuff like that. But from what I see right now, I don't see us coming together hand in hand and really taking down the common enemy. And I think sometimes it's lost who the common enemy is. And they've used all these types of ways to put themselves in the shadow. People don't understand who owns Bank of America and the Jesuits. They don't understand those things. They don't understand who's pulling the strings up and down, who's actually militarizing the police, what the police are. You know what I'm saying? And I think we need to find a way to get there with being sympathetic to our, to everybody who's fought this plight. And once again, it's going to be a long time, but we have to have some serious conversations. And unfortunately, I'm missing that leader out there, that Fred Hampton, that's going to just bring it all together.
I think they're out there. I just think we have
find
to.
them.
Yeah,
we got to use our platform
but
to put them forward.
I don't think this movement is going to have one leader. I think it's going to have a lot of people that are doing a lot of things, and that's. I mean, I think I'm more for that than I am for one person that's going to die or end up disappointing everybody, because that's just what happens when you put all your effort into one person. I think we need a representative, absolutely. Yeah. But I think
Dr. Cornel West, I'm
there,
still looking for him. You know what I'm saying? He has ties to the Green Party. He left. Remember when he said this is where the movement should go? It should go to Jill Stein. You know what I'm saying? He sees it. He understands it. And he understands about imperialism. That was the one thing, his criticism about Obama more than anybody was he's the face of imperialism. You know what I'm saying? Cornel West said don't compare Obama to Martin Luther King and these other guys. No. He's the face. That's what Dr. Cornel West would say.
Yep.
And guys like Reverend Barber, I talk about all the time how they go into these white neighborhoods and they talk to them and they educate them. You know what I'm saying? And they understand now there's a form of like I say, like with Reverend Barber, he's educating a lot of white people in the suburbs in North Carolina who don't understand what's going on, don't understand how they've been manipulated in their vote to vote against their own interest.
Well, one of the things one of the speakers mentioned, Pasta, was that the whole education that we've all ever gotten has come from a white Western world.
Yes.
Right?
It's oligarchs.
I mean, a Native American didn't write my history textbook.
Exactly.
Neither did a black person. Yeah, those are the textbooks I'm learning from.
Yes.
And believe me, I had AP education, so it was even better than the normal.
Yes.
Imagine like a normal textbook. It's trash.
Yes.
I mean, so like it's all based on how we've been educated too. We've been led to believe, when I was little, Christopher Columbus discovered America. Oh, yay, what a wonderful guy. When he turned out to be a freaking a murderer.
Yeah, it seemed like it was written by like imperialist oligarchs. Everything we learned in history, it's like we're Captain America and we're fighting fascism, Nazi everywhere, and we're fighting for truth and justice. And a lot of times we might have been back in the days, but we were also fighting for imperialism, for regime change, and that stuff went like under the covers. We were never taught about it, and a lot of people don't know about it. So, I'm sure glad that we're kind of leading the march when it comes to foreign policy, because tomorrow we're going to have on at noon Mark Sloboda is coming back, fam.
Nice.
Mark Sloboda will be in the house. We're going to talk about the Ethiopian dam. Maybe a little bit about Obamagate. There's a lot of things to unpack, and I love it when we have Mark Sloboda in the house because that man knows foreign policy.
He does.
All right, fam, let's talk about this. We're going to tie this all together because this is something I really want to talk about. Our good friend, I think she follows you on Twitter. I don't think she follows me. Caitlin Johnstone wrote this article in Medium, and this was like one of those articles where it was just pure butter, pure cheese. She really lays it out. And it says the establishment only dislikes Trump because he puts an ugly face on empire.
It's true.
And it really goes into it. And now check it out. It says Barack Obama has given his perfunctory speech about Black Lives Matter protests taking place in America today. And it was every bit of as full of pretty words and empty of actual substances as you'd expect from a president who spent 8 years stagnating the progressive movement with the empty hope narrative while advancing the same murderous, oppressive agendas as his predecessor.
Yeah.
Damn, the first line. I mean, can we talk about that for a second? Whatnot? We always looked at Obama as the guy who came in with hope, as the progressive, but he he in fact furthered some of the policies, the evil policies, the surveillance state of all the people who came before him. Is that not true, fam, or am I lying when I say that?
No, that's entirely true. And I think we people who understand this, especially people of color who understand this, I mean, really have to jump on and really talk about who Obama was and how under him and Biden, they deported more people than Trump has. Yeah. I mean, that has to be said. They built the cages where Trump is now putting these kids and these families in. I mean, you can't just say go register to vote against Donald Trump, because that's not going to solve the problem. Even if Biden is the president or Trump, we're still going to have the same freaking problem because they still work for the oligarchy. Yeah. So that's the thing. It's the system has to be dismantled. And when people that's the part we have to get to, because there are a few people that are aware of that, but there are many of people who are out there protesting that are neoliberals, because they're jumping on this cause, but they don't understand really who Joe Biden is. They may not know how bad he is. They don't know. They just don't know the history that he wrote the crime bill. Something as simple as that. Joe Biden writing the crime bill and what that did to the black community. How that affected them. How so many people were jailed. Hillary Clinton's super predators. Bill Clinton. Yeah. All of these people that have tokenized black people and Latin American people for their votes have literally done absolutely nothing for them. And the more I go out there and the more we talk to people, the more I see that the younger people are aware of it. Yeah. But the people that are a little bit older are still clinging into that whole Obama is this, Obama is that. And that's why we have to remind them Obama is one of the reasons we have Donald Trump. Years of neoliberalism led to people feeling abandoned by the Democratic Party. That's why they went to Donald Trump. West Virginia went to Donald Trump. They would have gone to Bernie, but because they hated Clinton so much and they hated how she didn't do anything for them, they went to Donald Trump. That is something we always have to remember. The white working class was just as affected. Yeah. In a lot of ways, with factories being closed, with NAFTA. We can't forget that. We have to remind people because some people don't know about that. Yeah.
And you were talking about the kids in cages, the same murderous, oppressive agendas as his predecessors. Let's not forget about Honduras and Manuel Zelaya and what he did. All right. He filled those cages. He built those cages for those kids to come here after he completely just ruined their country and took away their natural resources, because that's what Manuel Zelaya was all about, was about bringing socialism to his people, education, healthcare, all those things. He was taking poor people out of poverty and moving them up, and America oligarchs said, we can't let people in America on their doorstep see socialism because they're going to want that. Let's go take them over, and besides, we can steal all their natural resources as well. The next one says the former president talked about changes that need to be made, as though he wasn't the most powerful politician in America for 2 full terms. Praised the nation's police officers, saying the vast majority of them protect and serve the people, and encouraged them to continue making empty gestures of solidarity with the protesters to calm them down. My Obama needs work. But once again, fam, the former president talked about as if he didn't have 2 full terms. Let's not forget the first 2 years of his presidency. He had a full Democratic House, he had a full Democratic Senate, and he gave us mandated insurance.
Yep. Which ended up costing us the problem that we're in now. And that's it. That's what people have to know. Obama was a warmonger. He expanded the neoliberal policies of his predecessors, and he absolutely hurt the black community and the immigrant community and led to the foundations that Trump now has to do whatever he wants, whatever he's doing now. Again, we wouldn't have Donald Trump without years of neoliberalism. We just wouldn't. The pendulum wouldn't have swung that far right.
No way.
If people had been content with what the status quo was. That's the thing. People just voted out. They thought Trump was going to be an anti-establishment guy. They thought Trump was an anti-interventionist. Obviously, they were wrong, but that's what they thought. A lot of people. He got a lot of libertarian votes because of that. Now he's in danger of losing that because of how he's acting. But at the same time, the Democrats aren't doing themselves favors by pushing Joe Biden.
Because that's the argument right now. Even with the fact that he wasn't the anti-interventionist that we hoped he was, because I think we all just hoped. We didn't really count on it. He still is. A lot of people say, well, he's a lot less of a warmonger than Joe Biden. If you look at Joe Biden's history, Joe Biden not only has the Iraq war that he was pushing on the floor, and Trump can always fight against that narrative of the Iraq war for what he did to those Republicans in a debate in South Carolina when he called George Bush and his daddy and all those people and said they were liars and they lied about it. he's going to use that while you'll have a video of Biden on the floor saying that Bush was okay. And also waiting on what George Bush had to say on the protest, fam. I'm just going to read this quick little line and I'll pass it to you. It says, George W. Bush also weighed in on the protest with the compassionate conservative who murdered millions of Iraqis, sending liberals throughout the Twitter sphere into fits of ecstasy with his emotional plea for empathy and shared commitment and bold action and a peace rooted in justice.
It's just symbolic platitudes.
Bush.
That's all it is, because that's all they can do. Because they've done nothing for policy-wise. They've done nothing but hurt people. The same people protesting, they've done nothing but hurt. Especially my generation and the younger generation, they're sick of this. They see it. They see it because they haven't had a chance to be away from war. They haven't had a chance to be away from recession. Their whole entire lives have been plagued by both. So when the people that are like, yay, Bush, either they don't know or they haven't endured what people are enduring now. And that's going to change, because all of this stuff, we have to be the ones, the progressives in general, everybody has to be the ones talking about how George Bush was a warmonger, how Obama was a warmonger, what they did, how they didn't help people of color, how they created the reasons for Donald Trump's existence. We can't we can't go away from that. We can't, because otherwise this movement gets co-opted by the likes of Obama, and trust me, this is what they're attempting to do.
Let's take a bit of super chat contribution from Toon C. God damn it, I love you, fam. I love you too, Toon C.
Are you included in that?
I was talking about.
I'm just kidding.
We don't know what fam it is. We'll take it. We'll take it to fams. We'll take the love, definitely. Fam, the next part of this right here, too, it says, and I love this because it's really ridiculous. People really have TDS for wanting to bring back George W. Bush.
I mean,
George W. Bush was way worse than Donald Trump.
Absolutely. Policy-wise,
way worse.
You can say Donald Trump is authoritarian, because he is. You can say Donald Trump is says racist things. He's nasty. You can say all these things about Trump, but he says more than he does. And Bush does more than he says, because he wasn't being entirely manipulated by the CIA and by the military-industrial complex. Bush isn't the smartest tool in the tool shed. I mean, he was definitely one of the least smart presidents we've ever had.
He had bologna sandwiches and Cheetos when he was on. Hey, have some Cheetos and vote for me.
And that's saying a lot, because it's not like Trump is a genius either, but I think he was definitely more street smart than Bush here.
Trump is smarter than George W. George W. Bush has got to be one of the dumbest presidents I've ever seen in my life. And when people say, oh, George W. Bush is a lot smarter than he appears, like, no, he's not. And there was a great documentary called The Smartest Man in the Room, and it talked about what George W. Bush did. Johnny, you're going to love this. What George W. Bush did was hire dumb idiots in his cabinet positions and appoint judges so he could be the smartest guy in the room. So if this guy is so dumb, the people he appointed, it was ridiculous. This one says, establishment narrative managers on both sides of America's imaginary partisan divide, I love you, Caitlin Johnstone, have been saturating the mass media with gushing praise for the two former presidents and their wonderful words of healing and unity. And indeed, the words are quite nice. They will change exactly nothing, but they will sound nice. Once again, it's platitude. It's whatnot. Everybody, Obama speaks nicely and he looks nice and he's very proper. And George W. Bush is the compassionate conservative. But what do they do? I don't give a shit.
Even Mitt Romney.
Another one
being propped up. I mean, he's not as bad as the other two, but he still was not a friend of criminal justice reform. By the way, you can look at his record. He was in favor of 3 strikes. He was in favor of the death penalty. He was a very, very hard on crime type of guy. Yet people are over here praising Mitt Romney.
Yeah,
he's like,
because he was one of the Republicans that crossed the line to impeach Donald Trump, and that little phony act when he's crying, I got to do this. Get the hell out of here, Mitt Romney. And I want to talk about a crony capitalist. You want to talk about a crony capitalist, Mitt Romney? Oh my Lord. And that is exactly what the U.S. president's real job is. Not to end police brutality and systemic racism, not to make changes which benefit the American people, and certainly not to make the world less violent and a murderous place, but to say pretty words which lull the public into pleasant propaganda-induced coma, while the sociopathic oligarchs who really run things rob them blind.
This wouldn't happen if we had Hillary Clinton as president. We would not be seeing these protests en masse. We won't. We wouldn't. People would have been completely asleep. They would have been at brunch. They would have, it would have been an entirely different co-opted sort of mentality. the one thing Trump has done is bring out the ugliness, exposed it.
Yes.
Because even though he is a part of that ugliness, he's not doing the whole sugarcoating it.
Sugarcoating.
It's all there. It's all out there for everybody to see just how bad we have it. Donald Trump or Joe Biden. That is sad. It's a sad choice we have in America of the two-party system.
Yeah, and your tweet, what you wrote down, is what kind of inspired me to go with this story today. This and Caitlin Johnstone, what you talked about it, because it's really about the system, and also the fact that a lot of people are talking. And I know a lot of people who aren't in our echo chamber or our bubble or as knowledgeable as we are when it comes to foreign policy and all these nuances about politics. We've been spending time in this for a while. We weren't always this way. I think we were leftists that really hoped that the Democratic Party could change their ways. But when you get inside and you see what they're all about, you see the phoniness about it. So when people are already saying like, oh man, you got to vote for Biden because otherwise Donald Trump, it's like, no, you have to realize that it's the same thing. One is just kind of a little bit more transparent in his ugliness and he puts that face on it. While the other one's going to sit there and tell you pretty little things. I'm the guy who did this and I'm the guy who did this. And really, you are just as evil, if not worse, because people will go to sleep when they think a leftist Democratic president is there. They think morally the left is more compassionate and, more humanist and whatnot. And I would agree to that in ideology sometimes. But you know what? At least the Republicans are transparent about who they are.
And again, Johnny and I said this too. We have to separate the left from the Democrats because I'm the left. I have zero association with the Democratic Party. I can't stand them. I hate them. I hate them as much as I hate the Republican Party because they lie to your face. And they don't just tell you that they're racist. They lie and they say they love all people, but they enact racist legislation just the same. They stand by as the Republicans do what they want. They don't stand up to them. That's the whole point of what we're talking about. The Democratic Party is not an opposition party. It is a party of complacency. It is a party that is completely losing power because they are pretty much just the same as the Republican Party. They are pretty much one party under the oligarchy. They are they just employ the status quo. It doesn't matter. That's why it doesn't matter if Trump wins or Biden wins. It's still the status quo. I still think that if Biden wins, people are going to be more likely to feel like they've accomplished something, even though they haven't. And people would kind of like fall back, think like, okay, that's good. We got a Democrat now. It's good. I think there would be a lot of that.
The Democrats serve the oligarchy, and that's the one thing we have to keep in mind. And this is the next sentence right here because she kind of lays it out. Caitlin Johnstone, when she talked about putting people into a pleasant propaganda-induced coma while the sociopathic oligarchs who really run things rob them blind. And this is not accomplished by tweeting obnoxious things about shooting thugs. She's talking about Donald Trump and getting censored by Twitter. It is not accomplished by threatening to implement martial law against the will of the states. It's not accomplished by using the military to brutalize protesters so you can pose in front of a burnt church with an upside-down Bible. It is not accomplished by calling the brother of George Floyd and being curt and uninterested and dismissive. It is not accomplished by first mismanaging a pandemic, then mismanaging a response to an incendiary can you hit that word for me? Incendiary police murder, than having nothing soothing or sympathetic to say that makes people feel like you're listening to them or care. And we talked about that tweet. It's like you don't even care. Once the looting starts, the shooting starts. It was really insensitive. Okay, it is not accomplished by creating an environment which allow photos to circulate of the nation's capital burning. And that right there is the one and only reason why certain elements of the establishment do not like President Trump. Whenever I point out the many, many evil establishment agendas that have been advanced by this current U.S. president, I always get Trump supporters asking me, well, if he's serving the establishment, how come the established media and politicians attack him, so much hysterically, Okay? This is why. At first glance, it might seem strange to see Democrats and their aligned media shrieking about Trump with such an unprecedented degree of vitriol, but they aren't doing this because Trump resists the establishment in any meaningful way or domestic or foreign policy. He provides no significant resistance to toxic establishment agendas at all. Right. The reason there's been such a shrill historical rhetoric about this president from the establishment narrative managers is because, unlike his predecessors, Trump puts an ugly face on empire.
Exactly. And it allows, and the reason Trump isn't really doing anything, that the Democrats aren't really complaining about Trump in itself, is because Donald Trump, like, he literally it's putting all the focus on him, right? Like everybody's so focused on hating him, so obviously they benefit from that. The establishment benefits if you focus on Donald Trump only and not focus on how we got Donald Trump. It's always about the moment before.
Yeah,
it's always about that. It's never just like things don't just happen right there. There are things that have been happening for years that have led to the election of Trump, that have led to the moment we're having now. Everything that's happening now is because we didn't deal with the issues of before up until now, and now it's just all coming out in like a giant fountain of everything. It's just going.
I'm going to read these last two paragraphs, fam, and you're going to love this part. It says, establishment narrative managers understand how to skillfully manipulate public perception without being obvious about it.
Right.
Not mentioning any names, Obama. And they understand how easily an incompetent steward of empire can snap people out of their propaganda trance. They, therefore, dislike Trump for the same reason a new mother dislikes a noisy neighbor. They'll wake the baby. They don't dislike Trump because he does good things, and they certainly don't dislike Trump because he does bad things. They dislike Trump because he does bad things in a way that startles people out of their sleep. Okay?
Exactly.
That's the real reason the political media class have been behaving so weird the last 4 years. It isn't because Trump is not loyal, and not a loyal empire lackey. He is. It isn't because he's a Russian secret agent. He's not. And it isn't because he's uniquely depraved president. He's not. It's because he allows people to see the perverse mechanics of a global, sprawling, murderous empire for the sick, evil thing that it actually is. That and nothing more. That's why another 4 years of Trump, which is more likely than happen, is probably be better than a Biden presidency, because a lot of people will go back to sleep. If this angers people and people start, because here's the thing I'm hoping, a lot of these people that are getting out there in the street that are so emotional now about what happened, that they dig deeper, they dive deeper, and they see who's really pulling the strings at the end of the day. And I welcome those people who are opening this quest, who are joining us out in the streets now, because we've been out in the streets for a long time. Yeah. So seeing all these new faces, hey, let's go. The education starts. So subscribe to the Convo Couch and learn more.
Exactly. We've been out there for a long time, and just seeing, and just I am afraid that not enough people are seeing that. And that is something that I'm not necessarily thinking Biden is better or Trump is better, but I do think like a Democratic presidency, no matter how corrupt it is, will put us back to sleep. It'll make people feel like, oh, we got the Trump out of the White House. We got the orange man out of the White House. Yay. Now we can do something better. No, because guess what? These politicians are all ruled by the intelligence agencies, by the military industrial complex. They get their money just like Jackie Lacey gets her money from the police department. That as long as they're paid, they're not going to serve the people. That's the whole system we have to attack, and we need to keep pushing that, because otherwise we're going to get Joe Biden, and Joe Biden it's just I just think it'll be detrimental to our movement. I don't think it's going to allow us to have any more influence. People think that somehow Joe Biden being president would allow progressives to fight back more. No, you're not going to have that like hardcore opposition. It's not gonna be as obvious.
Yep.
And
it sucks what happened with AOC, because we put her there to fight the establishment. Now she joined him. I saw your video with Graham. It was amazing. Greg Vara, thank you for the super chat contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch. Got a fee for that one.
Damn.
We've seen how Bernie Sanders has fallen in line with the establishment Dems, so why wouldn't they allow him to become the nominee? Vendetta
because
for unveiling.
He hasn't really fallen in line with. I mean, he has some presently, but they know that policy-wise, he would actually be pushing. It would threaten the status quo. They're not going to let him anywhere near that, because Bernie Sanders is a threat to the status quo.
I don't think he wants it. Well, I mean, he might not want it for. Once again, I would never put it past the fact that he could have been threatened, and was told the deep state, the intelligence community, the unelected
that's why he's
government, they might be scaring him.
Bernie Sanders is a threat to the banks, the Wall Street, the oligarchs, etc. But he hasn't really threatened the military industrial complex too much. No. And I think that's why Bernie's alive.
Susan Brown, thank you for the sticker. She says, for you, with a nice cup of coffee or Joe or hot tea that she's putting down. Thank you. Susan Brown. And thank you to the 6 people who listen, guys. Tony watches closely. We love you. Glory Jones, Holly Horn.
Glory.
Come on, guys. Go listen. I want to see some new people on the ROKFINs. Go over there.
Glory, I want to hear from you about what you think about the protests, and how do we get more more people from BLM and more people that are out there protesting tying to this, because you are you're a Black young woman and you're a progressive that understands imperialism. So I definitely want to hear what you think, Glory.
Yeah. And Glory, we're gonna cook when you get in town. I'm gonna make you a nice dinner when you get here. I'd like to try some jerk chicken, see how I can do, get some good stuff going. I mean, maybe we can make some Caribbean food. Try it out, because that spot's not open anymore, and Gloria loves her Caribbean food. Okay.
So Nancy Pelosi.
Is that where we're at? Oh, wait. The truth about, yes, Nancy Pelosi, really quick. I just want to put that up from David Serrato, because once we're talking about there is no real opposition, right?
Yep.
We're just, they're there. It says Nancy Pelosi is trying to give Donald Trump more police power. She's right now pushing to reauthorize the Patriot Act to give him more police and surveillance power right now. This is completely unacceptable, but this is what we're talking about.
We need to, I really want to do like, I don't know if Glory can help me, like a Gen Z, like TikTok on like Nancy Pelosi. Stop yas queening Nancy Pelosi, people. Like she is like the evil queen. Okay. She's like, I mean, this woman has voted for Trump's military budgets, lets him do whatever he wants when it comes to privacy, when it comes to freedom of speech, our civil liberties, when it comes to all these things. She stands in the way too of progressives. She did not, the little kind of revolt AOC had in the squad in the beginning. She didn't let him anyway. She's the gatekeeper that keeps that from happening. I think without Nancy Pelosi, we'd see more positive results with the members of the squad that we have in there.
Excuse me, it's Mama Bear.
Excuse me, yes, Mama Bear Pelosi.
Thank you.
But instead she's just over there wearing her pink mask. Wearing her little, that matches her little outfit, showing her ice cream.
$1,200.
Yeah, her freaking $25,000 fridges. I mean, that is like, if that happened in like France, we'd be freaking at her house, like rioting, and it'd be Bastille style. But Americans like to protest for symbolism. We need to take that symbolism and make it into focus on actual policy.
Pijman has joined the ROKFIN. Thank you, Pidge. Good to see you. We got 330 people watching on the YouTube.
Sweet.
Fam, this is another thing. Now, listen, I'm not voting for Joe Biden. You don't have to vote for Joe Biden. I'm telling you right now, vote third party
to vote for Joe Biden.
But here's the thing. Even as a candidate, if I was giving his campaign advice, I'm like, you guys are screwing up right now.
Yep.
You're doing that kind of like Jeremy Corbyn thing. You're walking one line. You're kind of going back on your word. Pick a side and stay on a side. If you're going to sit there and say you want to now defund the police and then defund the police, yeah, there's some video of you back out there being really chummy with police force and talking about building a fence and whatnot and writing
with
the crime
KKK
bill.
members. There's a little picture of him with the KKK members.
You're supposed to be like, now you're supposed to be reformed and whatnot, but he can't walk that line. He's already doing that. Biden walks a cautious line as he opposes defunding the police. You know what I'm saying? So he's caught himself in a bad position right now. It's like, who do you represent?
Well, but Biden's not going to give us anything, you guys. You know why? Because we're not demanding it. You want if Joe Biden wants to get your vote, he should support Medicare for all, defunding the police, election reform, and no more war. That's how you get Joe Biden. If he doesn't do that, you say, you know what? Thank you, no thanks. We're not going to vote for either party. You have the capacity. That's all you have right now. Half of the time our votes don't count. Most of the time our votes don't count. So vote for a third party. I think showing the establishment that you're going third party is a big symbol, because you don't have to vote for either end. That's how we stop it, right?
Exactly.
Voting is one thing too. It's just one thing.
Yeah.
Right now, things are getting accomplished not within the electorate, but outside the electorate. We can't continue wasting our time trying to reform a party of gangsters, because it's not going to get reformed. They hold all the power. We have none. We have no power. We have no leverage. We have nothing. The only power we have is our vote and our ability to demand and protest outside. Yeah. And so if Joe Biden thinks that you're already going to vote for him, if Joe Biden thinks you're already going to vote for him, why the hell would he give you anything? If you're saying vote blue no matter who, why the hell is he going to give you Medicare for all? He's not going to, because you're not demanding it. And that's the problem I have with people who are saying you need to vote for Joe to get Trump out. Why am I going to vote for Joe if he's not giving me anything more than Trump has given me? Yeah, and you know what? It is important time to, and fam, like I really am depressed right now, because if there's any time to have a good third-party candidate, it would have been right friggin' now. This is, you're ripe for the moment right now to get you above the 5%. Yep. I might be voting for Howie Hawkins if he's the Green Party nomination. I might be voting for the Libertarian. I don't know. But that's the only way you do maintain power, or gain power for that matter, is as soon as they cheated your candidate, you get up and you walk away and you say, you know what?
Peace. Enjoy yourself. So getting caught in this false dichotomy that you have to vote for Joe Biden, otherwise the orange man's going to be in power, is really just a false
It didn't work 4 years
narrative.
ago, you guys.
And it kicks the can down the road. It's actually worse for us.
We thought it was the end of the world when Hillary Clinton lost to Donald Trump, right? And so what happened? Okay, yeah, all this shit has happened, but all this shit needed to happen so people could realize how fucked up our country is.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, we wouldn't have realized it. We wouldn't have realized it. People would have still been at brunch if Hillary was elected. People would have been like, "Oh, it's okay. We have a woman." Like that's it. And like that's not this going anywhere.
Harley Rowder says, "I voted for Hillary Clinton because I wanted to have the first woman president." Yeah, well, what about Michelle Bachmann, Sarah Palin? You want them to be president? I don't think so. Fam, we got a super chat from A. Maris. This guy is old school A. Maris, so it could be a lady. Thank you. Old school. I remember this person on Ron's Live Me back in the days, and he's really funny on Twitter, or she's really funny on Twitter. Yeah, I remember. This is Predict the MSM headline. Russia has an effective COVID drug. Tonight on Fox News. You like that one? I did the one for you, A. Maris, in my Ron Burgundy voice. Fam, there's also something to point out, too, as well, because Chuckles Schumer, we sometimes forget about Chuckles. Chuckles is the most powerful Democrat in the state. Now, this was in 2018. I put this out because, it really talked about Chuck Schumer is the worst possible Democrat leader on foreign policy at the worst possible time. Once again, also praising the embassy getting moved from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. A lot of things. He once was against the Iranian nuclear deal. He's very pro-Zionist as can be.
He is
what I'm saying? He made sure that Donald Trump got extra money for his military budget. He didn't get it down. And a lot of times when he's voted, he didn't whip the votes publicly. You know what I'm saying? So he kind of hid in the shadows because if you're the leader of the Senate, you're supposed to whip some votes. You're supposed to whip support. So a lot of times he didn't whip shit. Okay, Schumer supported Trump's bombing of Syria both in 2017 and in 2018. Okay, he said it was appropriate. It was the right thing to do. He also supported all the actions in Libya back in the days when Obama was there. So, I mean, there's so many things that Schumer has done. He was also a supporter of John Bolton's 2005 nomination to be the U.S. ambassador to the UN. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, and he said stupid shit like a vote against Bolton, Schumer proclaimed, was a vote against Israel. That's John Lord Bolton. So you could just see, once again, the Democrats, you cannot give them power. They just pretend like they're the opposition. They pretend they're for the working party. And that's the worst thing about them. Like I said, a lot of the Republicans...
If we were happy with Democrats, we wouldn't have Trump, and we wouldn't be in the situation we're in now, by the way. If they had done their job as being back when they were supposed the working people's party, they're no longer that. They don't even follow their own platform. Their own platform, which isn't even anything great. They can't even follow that.
Yeah.
So I mean, there is no opposition party right now. No. There isn't. There's the people that are all over the place, and they're here, and us, and the movement that is. Has been building since Bernie and even before that, but there's no real opposition party right now to the Republicans. They are all pretty much in agreement, except a few symbolic bullshit differences here and there. You put on a pink pussy hat, you're a Democrat. You put on a MAGA hat, you're a Republican. Either way, it's still an ugly hat.
Yeah, and I was just thinking when you said that about Bernie and looking at Glory. Remember we used to get a Savage Bernie? I suggest people don't see two aisles. I suggest people see one aisle. And I'd like to see some bold leadership from this body.
Yeah.
The old school Bernie, man.
I love old school Bernie.
Dude, the old school Bernie.
Man.
So Roblito Jagger, he talked about, we're going to get to the subject. Okay, because here's something right now because, fam, we also have to talk about, and this just shows you more that it's not two aisles. It's one aisle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Donald Trump is not liked by a lot of establishment people because he puts the dirty face on Empire. We've always made that joke like, oh shit, he's telling the truth. Like, don't tell the truth. Shut up, Donald Trump. Like, we're taking the oil in Syria.
He tells the truth for his own benefit,
by accident
and then mixes it sometimes. It's a lot of lies. But again, he's a manipulator. He's a businessman. He's a con man. He's trying to get people on his side.
Yep.
He's all about himself, right? But that doesn't change the fact that in some of these instances, even for himself, he lets out some things that say somebody like a Mitt Romney wouldn't do. Mitt Romney would be just more polite and more like this. And trust me, people are going to try to run that guy again.
Yeah, and this just shows you. This is the next. We were talking about this now. Is the war criminals praising other war criminals? By the way, Glory Jones says all I ask is that I never see Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and what is that? KUNTE clothes ever again?
Oh, cloth. Wait. What are kunti cloths? Oh, is that the African cloth?
No, were they really?
I didn't see that. I
Glory,
must
what's
have missed
going on here? You got to, Glory, send us a picture on our Gmail so we can put it up there. Is it kunte clothes ever again? Yeah. I think she's saying kunte, and I don't want to say that. So, Glory, don't get me in trouble over here, right?
Don't get the white man in trouble.
I already get myself in enough trouble, please. So the next one is war criminals love praising war criminals, and this just shows you that there's one aisle. Okay, they don't like, a lot of establishment figures don't like Donald Trump because he puts that face of what we say, he exposes what the establishment is doing. You know what I'm saying? And he pretends like there's a military-industrial complex. There is one. Yeah, well, you
have Pompeo.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Bolton and friggin' please with these people. Elliot Abramson, please. Robbie Jager, if you haven't seen Robbie Jager, part of the MCSC family. George W. Bush and Colin Powell, two integral pieces of the most corrupt administration in United States history. Amen it was, have both endorsed Uncle Joe Biden. Now all he needs is the Cheney endorsement, and he'll hit the war criminal trifecta. That is great. And we have a little video right here of Colin Powell on CNN.
Oh, God.
Seeing tens of thousands of protesters taking to the streets this week in opposition to racial injustice and police brutality. What's been your personal reaction to this moment? Do you think that the country is in something of a turning point?
We are at turning points. I mean, the Republican Party, the president, thought they were sort of immune. They can go say anything they wanted. And even more troubling, the Congress would just sit there and not in any way resist what the president's doing. And the one word I have to use with respect to what he's been doing for the last several years is a word I would never have used before. I never would have used with any of the 4 presidents I've worked for. He lies. He lies about things. And he gets away with it because people will not hold him accountable. And so while we're watching him, we need to watch our Congress. I watched the senators heading into the chamber the other day after all this broke, with a reporter saying, "What do you have to say? What do you have to say?" They had nothing to say. They would not react. And so we're not a country of just a president. We have a Congress. We have a Supreme Court. But most of all, we have the people of the United States, the ones who vote him in and the ones who vote him out. I couldn't vote for him in '96, and I certainly cannot in any way support President Trump this year.
So, I know you didn't vote for him in 2016. I assume, based on the fact that you approved Joe Biden when then Senator Obama picked him to be his running mate in 2008, I assume you're going to be voting for Joe Biden?
I'm very close to Joe Biden on a social matter and on a political matter. I've worked with him for 35, 40 years, and he is now the candidate, and I will be voting for him.
Okay. So he says that Donald Trump lies. Guess what, Colin Powell? You lied.
I know.
You went to the fucking UN and told them that Saddam Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. You were the most pivotal piece in American history to get us into the Iraqi war. You're going to say you didn't know? And guess who else lies? Joe Biden lies. Joe Biden hasn't stopped lying. Are you
he
fucking
lied on
kidding me?
national television.
The establishment is the establishment. A war criminal praising another war criminal. You know what, Colin Powell? I don't care that you talk nice and you're a really cool person. Some people say whatever. You should be behind bars, okay? If anything, never listened to ever again, just like Robert Mueller. You and Robert Mueller pitched Saddam Hussein's having weapons of mass destruction, and now you want to sit there and say Donald Trump lies. Guess what, pal? You've been lying to us for how long?
We should send them all to Epstein Island, fam.
Oh, my God. I wish we could have big giants do to them with... Never mind. Sorry. I don't want to get fucking crazy over here. Fam, you got anything else to say this? Because we got a good spot coming up. It looks like Johnny's spot.
Ridiculous.
Is this you, Johnny?
Yeah.
All right. I know, John. Listen, I know I'm going to have a treat. So everybody, remember that the establishment, it's one big aisle. You don't have to vote for Joe Biden. And it's really disgusting, too, as well, the way these protests, some of these establishment characters are kind of swoop in there and steal the whole movement to tell you got to vote for the Democrats. Here comes Obama out of the blue with his speeches when Obama was the president.
Of course, they get the other token, black Republican, right? The
Colin Powell.
Colin Powell, yeah.
Well, they'll have more to come if they can find him and whatnot. So, but we'll see. Only time will tell. You don't have to vote for Joe Biden. You should vote third party. And even though we don't have a really exciting third party candidate just yet, still better. At least their platform's better, and they're not as crooked as these Democrats as well. new members. We loved them when we went up to Seattle. We met some of the best Bernie-crats in the world.
Yeah.
I should say progressives. The Sarah Smith crew. I love Sarah Smith. What a great politician and candidate she was. That's why I was kind of always a little pissed off at Premier Jayapal. Thank you so much. I'm a loss for words. Because she supported her competition, the Democrat Adam Smith. So it was really sad to see that, and I always remember that because Sarah Smith was a brilliant candidate, and I hope she gets back into the game. She's a fighter. She's smart. She's very articulate. She knows her shit. She's young. She was a Justice Democrat just like AOC.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, AOC got the spot. She did not, but hopefully we'll see things from her in the future. Toon C, thank you for the Super Chat contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch. If any one of the Kennedys' magnitude ever gets elected prez, they will be the target of an assassination attempt. History is my witness. There are no more politicians like him that hold that true intent, dedication, and compassion. Sorry,
I don't think Joe Kennedy, it would be a problem for this. I mean, he's just a disservice to his name. I mean, it's just.
He is.
Yeah,
they try to plug that guy, and that guy takes so much from Big Pharma. It's
ridiculous. When the establishment is trying to plug in a Kennedy, he's not the real deal.
Exactly.
if he's alive, then he's not the real deal.
He's not the real deal. We got to also watch Bobby. That's a great movie. I told you about Emilio Estevez.
Johnny, we have to watch Bobby.
We really got to watch Bobby. It's really well done. Roshan just said on the chat, and thank you, Roshan, for joining us, that when Johnny, me and you first met Roshan right around the corner when Sirhan grew up, was right around the corner in Pasadena. Otis B, thank you for the Super Chat contribution. It's always appreciated. A couch. I'm unsure if disbanding the police was great. I'm monitoring. It's based on prevention, not enforcement. The dollars can be used for job training, job services. Hopefully it will depend on who's in charge. And I said the same thing similar to Otis B. I don't know if it's necessarily defunding. We definitely need to demilitarize. But no, I think if we spent funding in the right place, like we made the training double. You know what I'm saying? We have more peace officers. We use the money the way we want to train the police. Peace officers, not officers that will hit you with rubber bullets and whatnot.
Hold on. Yeah, you got to dismantle the system. And I think we need to really be specific here. Defunding the police doesn't mean you're saying police don't exist anymore. It means you're taking away the money for them to criminalize poverty, to criminalize people and put people in jail, because guess what? Our prison system is a for-profit system, and it's built like that. They make money off of that. The way police go after you for tickets, they have to meet a certain quota. The way they are heavily militarized with army-grade weapons that they don't need. That is the whole system that has to change. That is what we mean by defunding the police. We don't mean that they don't exist. You're still going to have police. We need police. We need police that are helping the community, that are there to actually protect and serve. Right now, the people aren't protecting us. They're literally attacking. They're in opposition to the people, especially working people, especially people of color. That's the whole problem. You can't, just like you can't reform the Democratic Party, you can't reform the police system. You got to kind of start from ground zero. Nobody's saying that they don't exist, that they're not going to have jobs, but the whole system's how they become police. That has to change too. Who can become a police officer? The psychological testing, the training, all of it, because it stems from a system that is oppressive. So even if you try to reform that, the system is still going to be there.
Still has roots, still has mechanisms in there. I hear what you're saying. I gotta, you kind of changed my stance on that, because even when I was talking to it with my mother about it, she's like, well, these people have the job. I said, well, what about reform the police, demilitarize them? She's like, I'm all for that, but I think you're right. You have to break it all down and then build up something new.
I think people
from square one. I
think people think
I'm there with you guys.
We mean by we don't want police to exist. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, I think some people don't want them to exist. I don't think we're ready for that. I think society still needs some sort of
As
order.
long as alcohol is legal, we have bars. We
need somebody to, like, if something happens to your car or whatever, there's somebody that you can rely on. But that's the kind of policing we need. We don't need police armed, pointing their weapons at kids holding up a sign. That's not what they're doing.
And all that weaponry that came home that Barack Obama gave to the police departments across this country, please. Jim Crittenden.
Keith M's super chat.
Oh, did I miss one?
Yeah. So he says Biden lies so naturally because he's done it for so long. Trump, he always seems like preschooler trying to figure out his first line.
I missed that one. Keith M., I'm so sorry for missing your super chat contribution. That's why we got Johnny Sue, the best in the business. He handles it, and he got us there. Thank you for the super chat contribution. It's always appreciated in Couch. We had up to 400 watchers today, guys. I really do appreciate it. We had some on the ROKFINs. Please go over to the ROKFINs if you haven't signed up and joined up. They actually
hit the
voted
like
to
button,
disband
guys.
the police in Minneapolis. Yes, Otis B., we talked about it earlier and stuff, but let's see them put it into play. Hit the like button. We have 242 likes, 9 dislikes. So, God, we had some action on over here today. We do have 10 people watching on over at the Convo Couch ROKFIN. Remember, Jimmy Dore just joined the platform.
Yay.
We have a lot of people out there. You need some police so they can finally arrest Pasta, says Pijman. All jokes aside, Fiorella, I kind of disagree. I don't know what it is, but anyways, who cares? We love you all. So tomorrow we're going to have Mark Sapoto on at noon talking about the Ethiopian dam. It's one of the first water wars possibly going on. The way the Egyptian government is possibly sending in militias, bounty hunters of sorts, mercenaries to go and fight the Ethiopians, because the Ethiopians are ready to say, we're going to build this dam. There's a lot of talks. Obviously, we sell a lot of weaponry to Egypt, so that's one of those things that we have to keep an eye on. He's also going to talk a little Obamagate as well, and maybe a little bit about what's going on with Hillary Clinton, because a lot of people don't know Hillary Clinton's about to go on trial. Let's start questioning Hillary Clinton. We're going to see what's going on with that. Fam, you got anything else before we get out of here?
No, I just finished watching the entire Epstein documentary. It was interesting. It wasn't really that much new information, but it definitely did give a perspective on the victims and all of that. So I think we'll do a little thing on it.
Oh, we will. Johnny, anything else before we get on out of here?
Nope.
All right, guys. That was a good show today. We want to thank you for joining the Convo Couch YouTube. Oh, wait. Do we have one more super chat? Was that the old one? Nope, that was the old one. Thank you guys so much. We had 400 watchers today at one point. Some people on the ROKFIN. If you haven't gone over to the ROKFIN, ROKFIN, join on up. And if you're one of our Patreon, I want to say thank you so much. You guys keep us going. And we will check out Whitney Webb's video fee. He says that was Toby. But thank you very much for joining for Pasta Jardula.
Fiorella.
Johnny Sue still spinning on those 1s and 2s.
Combo out. Bye, guys.
Peace.